Hey friends, I'm so excited about the Beyond Vision. We believe God is calling us to reach 13,000 new people for Jesus over the next 5 years. To achieve that goal, we can't go on doing church as usual. In order to position ourselves for this impact, we will re-energize how we reach and disciple our local communities, placing new emphasis on building relationships, developing leaders, and launching a simplified and updated discipleship strategy. We will enhance our missional partners' ability to serve our communities, including a rebrand of what is currently called the South Campus to be functional as the Ginghamsburg Care Center. And finally, we'll take a fresh look at our front door, paying close attention to the new guest experience and improving the lobbies at all our campuses. We want those 13,000 people who aren't here yet to know they belong. This new vision for Ginghamsburg will cost $16 million over the next 24 months. Now, don't be confused by that big number. If we kept doing church as usual, in those 24 months, you would have already given $10.7 million. By going above and beyond, we can accomplish even more together.
The Beyond initiative is an all-in effort. We want you and need you to participate. That's everybody in. We're unifying our generosity around one central fund where every dollar given will support both our existing annual mission and ministry, as well as pave the way toward what God is calling us to do next. On the back of your commitment card, you'll see the commitment ladder. We recognize that giving is a journey. Most people are not born tithing. Maybe you've been giving to the church. When you came to worship, you were moved by a heartfelt testimony, but your giving isn't consistent. Well, you're an emerging giver. Perhaps you've been consistent, but haven't quite made it to that 10% tithe on the ladder. You'd be a consistent giver. There are some of you who are extravagant givers, but God is challenging you to commit to a number that makes you a little weak in the knees. Wherever you are on this journey, we believe that God is calling each and every one of us to step up our giving and go to the next rung on the ladder. If you're emerging, become consistent. If you are consistent, start tithing. If you're an extravagant giver, give in such a way that giving stretches your faith. When you're generous, that generosity shapes how we respond to God, to family, and even to other people. Generosity is an integral part of our relationship with Jesus. So once you've determined where you are in the ladder, now you're ready to prayerfully make a commitment.
On the reverse side of the card, you'll find a space to write down your financial commitment. We aren't asking you to fill this card out today in worship. Please take it home with you. Put it in your Bible or on your bathroom mirror. Pray over it, talk about it. And in 2 weeks, you can return those cards right here in worship. Here's how the card works. Let's start with Jim and Nancy. Jim and Nancy are consistent givers, maybe even tithers. Right now, their regular giving to the general fund is $9,000 a year, plus every spring they give about $200 to the Red Envelope Drive to send our students on mission trips. And they save up to give about $800 on Christmas Eve to the Christmas Miracle Offering. They would write $10,000 on the top line of the commitment card, indicating their total regular giving to the general fund and special offerings. In support of Beyond, Jim and Nancy are going to take their next step on the commitment ladder. They're committing to an additional $4,000 per year, so they write $4,000 on line 2 as their expanded annual giving. For line 3, they simply add those two lines together, $10,000 plus $4,000 equals $14,000 as their 1-year subtotal. And then they multiply $14,000 by 2 years to get their $28,000 total. Now, Jim and Nancy are good financial peace students, and they've built up a rainy day fund. In fact, they recognize they've stored up more in their rainy day fund than they actually need. And rather than store up their treasures, they've decided to give $15,000 from their stored resources to Beyond. And they write that total on the next line. So Jim and Nancy arrive at their total 2-year commitment to Beyond by adding $28,000 in regular giving plus $15,000 in giving from their assets to a grand total of $43,000.
Now let's talk about someone at the other end of the giving ladder. Mike and Jane are brand new to the faith. They've been coming to Ginghamsburg for a year or two, but haven't taken that first step in generosity. Folks, today's the day. We need 100% participation. We need Mike and Jane to lean in if we're gonna reach those 13,000 new people for Jesus. So Mike and Jane would write a 0 on the top line as they never have given before. They've been praying and they are ready to become consistent givers. They write down $2,000 in their annual expanded giving. For Mike and Jane, their 1-year subtotal is $2,000 and their 2-year total is now $4,000. Now Mike and Jane are young and don't have resources saved up at the level of Jim and Nancy, but they do know that in the next couple of years, they'll be selling some of the things that they've accumulated for their kids who are growing older. They'll have a garage sale and they'll probably participate in the Mom to Mom Avenue sale, and they want to commit $1,500 from the sale of those items to Beyond. So they write $1,500 on the stored resources line. Adding those two lines together, their 2-year commitment to Beyond is $5,500 because they took their next step on the giving ladder.
Friends, it's time to pray. Pray for one another as we make commitments to Ginghamsburg's future, and pray for God to do above and beyond what we could ask or imagine.